last but not least, the one and only Kay Evans and Courtney Gardner.
You know what? She asked me how long it's been since I got. Since it was over. She said, that long? I said, I haven't been invited.
Now she
But you know what? I'm so happy to be invited to that. It's never, ever too late. So that was, y'all have been open how many years? A long time, 20 something.
Yeah, 20. Yeah, 2000. Yeah, 20 years.
20 years.
Well, lots changed since that day that Bob Kalinsky and I partnered up and opened the Southeast region, and people were taking bets that we would be gone in 6 months. Guess we showed them. Nobody's gonna go and join.
Remember Keller?
Yeah, I remember Keller who, Teresa, you were so right. It was definitely Keller who. So we started way back there when, and we just, started with 30 people, and then so 40 years, we had 63 offices in the Southeast region, which is Georgia, Tennessee, and Alabama, excluding parts of Tennessee and parts of Alabama. All of Georgia is. So it's been a really, really fun ride. But thank you for not forgetting. I've aged a little bit since then. Not a whole lot. I'm a little bit older and a little bit wiser, but now we have added Courtney Gardner. She is, I'm proud to say that I brought her on, and she's been major league important in the luxury group. So I'm going to briefly tell you how we wound up in the luxury group, and Courtney's going to tell you what we had. When I came on board, when we started, Keller Williams did not have at all. It wasn't a luxury company. And people were saying, agents were saying after a few years, we don't have a luxury division. You know why we didn't have a? Because what brought us to be the number one and the strongest company in the bar is also what kept us from capturing luxury. And that is, you remember in the early days, you could do any color you wanted, you could put anything on your sign you wanted, you could put your picture on everything, you could do, it was a hodgepodge of different things. And that is not luxury. So if we wanted luxury, we had to come up with some way to change that part of it and to have an alternative. So we still do what brought us here, which is a great thing, but we also now have luxury because that was a passion that I had, and a group of agents came to me and asked me if I would help them develop their luxury business. There was about 5 of them. And so we laid the groundwork, worked on it, and began to develop, a luxury division. When you operate in the luxury world, say this clear, it's a whole different ball game to operate in the regular. It is simple. It's not showy. It's not, a lot of glitzy. People think that because it's luxury, we need to be as glitzy as we possibly can. Actually, we need to be as simple as we possibly can and tasteful, because that is what appeals to luxury. Because remember, luxury people who are in that category can buy pretty much what they want. So don't spend a lot of time worrying about how you're going to impress them, or you have to give them expensive gifts. It's not that way. Really not. It's creating an experience for luxury. Creating an experience. It's doing something that remembers them personally. I could tell you story after story, about people and luxury people, what their expectations. So don't think you have to get what you're going to be in luxury. You have to spend a lot of money giving them gifts and that sort of. You don't. You have to be just be tasteful. Give them tasteful gifts. Now, when Courtney came on board with us, this one really, really, really amazing. Courtney and I have what we've done is created a lot of local luxury marketing things, or which Keller Williams did not have. At the international level, they have a great luxury position. There's no question about it. We work hand in glove with them, but they cannot create local because the company's huge, so they can't create local things. That's what Courtney and I bought this week, and we have created things to local marketing. In fact, the houses look like before us. Courtney looked like what?
California,
Texas,
New York,
yeah.
Texas,
All the
a
folks
little
are.
bit of Colorado.
Yeah. So we do local things. We do houses that look local in Georgia, you can find in Georgia, and stats. Courtney's going to show you all of this. We do statistics for the luxury market, and it is, and we do them pretty. Stats are usually not pretty. I believe in pretty. I believe in clean and crisp neat. And so our stats are amazing in the luxury world. What happens is we pay to have the stats done by a guy, and then we ask him to, and then we hire someone to make them pretty, so that you can send them out to your clients, and they look really good. So we have created all sorts of marketing materials for you, and that has really put us on the map. Courtney, how many members do we have? Started with 5. How many do we have?
202.
We have 202 members in Live Luxury now. And started. That's pretty darn good, isn't it? And I have to say that Courtney and I think our responsibility is to keep creating things for you to use, because that's the one thing that Keller Williams hasn't been able to do at the international level is apply it to your local market. So that's our job. We have listing presentations you can download. We have all kinds of things. We have brochures. We have, and again, Courtney is going to show you that, but it has answered a need. It really has, and we have interest for our group is started out. We're only in the southeast region, and really mostly in Georgia. But now we have a chapter that's opened in Florida, in the 38 market. We have a chapter there. We have one up in Nashville, right out of Nashville. And here, and this one, Mo Anderson's office in Oklahoma. Courtney's working with them right now to open a Live Luxury chapter there. So we are, and we have been expanding. And guess what? We have taken, Courtney gives you statistics to show your clients. They used to say, Keller Williams is not a luxury company. Now, as Courtney's going to show you, we are not a luxury company. We are the luxury company in Metro Atlanta. When we started, we had 0 market share. We now have 19%.
Yeah.
19% of the luxury market.
Later, but
And we're
I'm like, that's a reveal for later, but yeah.
Much for me to keep all the good stuff. Oh, I can say what I want to say. She's like, don't tell them that. I won't tell them that. So anyway, she has done an amazing job with that. But yes, we are. We are number one in Metro Atlanta, and we started at 0. So we are. And then she's going to show you other things. We give you things to send to your clients to show them where we rank. And we rank the companies, and it's right there. Right. And so all the companies that say we're number one in luxury, it's just not they may be number one in a block or in a certain area, but overall, that has been our goal. And so, if you are interested in going into the luxury market, yes, you have to spend some money to do it. You do. Not, it's just that because we spend money creating all of this stuff for you to be able to download and find that out. So who's got a question about it before I let Courtney tell you all the other stuff? If I got a question. Yes.
What is the price?
So KWRI sets the threshold. We adhere to that. It's by county. So it's 700,000 in most of the Metro Atlanta County. It's 825 in Fulton. And then there's some offshoots. Raven County is 1.295 to be counted as luxury. Green County is 900,000. Most part, 700,000. Most of Metro.
But our statistics, we kind of keep up with anything over $1 million.
Yeah, we do a separate subset that's
Right.
$1 million plus. Look at it.
Yeah. Because
very competitive. So I'm always trying to give you things and
yeah. So now you can go into a luxury appointment armed with material that shows the truth. Yes.
Is there a certain number of transactions?
Yes. 2.
Live Luxury requires 2 in 12 months. KW Luxury requires 4 in 24 months.
So we have been working hand in glove, and as I say, I think we want you to be in Live Luxury, and then we want you to grow into KW. You can't have too much luxury training, really, when you think about it. The more you learn, the better it is. So, another question. Somebody has a question. Yes, sir.
It was answered.
It was answered?
It was the same question.
Oh, okay. All right. Anybody else? Yes. Average days on market?
With a price reduction or without?
We'll give you that information.
Without a price reduction, it's a 10-day market. With a price reduction, it's 103 days market.
So you're going to be armed with this kind of information when you go in to a listing. And by the way, we were heavy on the buyer side and selling luxury properties, but we listing side, yes, that has changed now. Because we can give them great stats. So, without further ado, I will tell you that you're going to learn some great stuff. I'm going to turn this over to her, and I'm going to tell the rest of you. I'll invite me to that sometime.
Oh my God. First of all, it's my greatest honor to work hand in hand with Kay Evans. I was telling somebody earlier when we're at family reunion, it's like I'm walking around with Mick Jagger because everyone is.
I have the same hips.
She is deceptively fast. I'm always like, no, slow down. This is a little bit about me. If you wanted to take note or screenshot, or you can share the presentation, either way. My email address and cell phone number is on there. Texting is my love language, but I do answer the phone. So Live Luxury itself is a boutique division of the Southeast region. We are a little bit more stringent than regular KW luxury. We do a little light cyber stalking of you. We check out your website, we look at your social media, I'll look at your listings in addition to your actual production. We do not take everyone on purpose. We want to make sure that we have people who didn't luck into luxury, but people who are actually building a business on luxury are in this group. It's very tight knit, very much like a family, but very welcoming, everyone sharing absolutely everything. We have a few benefits. We are hyper local. I like to say that KW Luxury is the global mothership, and we are your hyper local agent. So we try to fill the holes that they just can't on a global scale with 170,000 agents. We try to find those things that build your business and complement what. So we have global, national, and local exposure with Live Luxury. We have a partnership with luxuryrealestate.com, which is the largest luxury specific real estate website. We do a lot of internal marketing. We do a lot of promotion. We have a social media following that's built clients. That all kinds of things. I could talk to you about that forever. We do masterminds pretty much every month, the third Thursday of the month, which many of our members will say, even if we didn't get anything else, being in that room is the room we with, because we internally mastermind and we bring in big speakers. Always designed to build the health, wealth, and luxury of your business. We're going to get into some of the other things we've shown you. We do quarterly luxury stats, which I would tell you is the number one thing that people hound me for. It's a two-part feature. There's one that's designed for you to send to your clients, the public-facing one. And then we have a more nitty-gritty, detailed version of that that is agent. And we actually, every quarter, bring in the statistician. We actually review them in depth and show you how to use them, point out trends, work on script, which is very nice. We'll get into it. We already talked about the county minimums. We also provide you stats like this. So this is across all price points. And you'll say, well, Courtney, why would I need to know all price points if you're in luxury? Well, this tells you a very large story. So if you have a client or a buyer or a seller who's like, well, Keller Williams is not luxury, and it's like, oh, no. We're just not limited to luxury. We had $16.659 billion in the metro Atlanta area of sales combined. Our next closest competitor, you'll see, is $3.8 billion.
Not enough of that.
You're literally the best by billions, which is astounding. So one of the reasons they might be missing the fact that you're number one in luxury locally in Atlanta, globally, and nationally is because you're not limited to that. And in fact, not only can you help them in their luxury market, but you have a network that allows anyone in their sphere to have the dream accomplished, which is really nice. So we give you stuff like that because it's like, oh, we're hidden, but we're number one. It's fine. We're also a top 20 luxury market. So talking about the global scale of luxury in Atlanta, you're a top 20 migratory market, which means your buyer for that specific home may not even be. And having access to the largest real estate network the world has ever seen is beneficial to your clients. It's beneficial to your previous buyers because you're not limited to here. You're their gateway agent of the world. There's not a place that they want to buy a home that you can't help facilitate, which is nice. And I just made a point. I told you I was competitive, but if you were to add up 2, 3, 4, and 5, you're like still not winning. You know, combined. We are literally the best by billions. We'll give you those sorts of things. But then we'll talk to you about your market share in luxury. It's like, oh, you're number one in luxury. We all know everyone else says they're number one in luxury. Not quite sure what math they're using, but we'll locate it one day. But you see, I'm not saying who it is, but they all say I'm number one in luxury, number one in everything, we're number one in everything. The truth is, they're 10 percentage points behind us at minimum. And so we try to show you that. So it's like, what is this? Right? So you can have that sort of conversation. You don't even have to talk about 2 through 10. You can just show what number one is doing because a top luxury client wants to work with the top. It's a little more. Well, then 2 through 10 will all go, oh, sure, Keller Williams is number one in luxury, but we're number one $1 million transactions, which is a feeling and not a fact. So that's fun. Yeah. I was like, oh, great. So we will provide you stats in the million plus market range. So you can have that higher level conversation as well. Because sometimes the hottest market right now is 750 to $1 million. We're kind of crushing it in that range, but we're also winning in the million plus argument. So we try to give you that information as well. And I don't assign numbers for 6 through 10 because it doesn't matter. Yeah.
Just imagine you can have this to send out to your clients, to your database, everybody. You get that, and that's from the that
Trend graphics. Yeah.
trend graph.
This one is actually the cumulative for 2023. We actually send this to our members month over month. So you get the running total that shows how you stand. Interesting enough, you might see something similar to this in other marketing pieces from our collaborators that are beneath us. They actually remove us entirely from there. Market, which is funny. We do the courtesy of actually combining companies because they actually report as separate entities. So I go ahead and combine them so that it shows the true market understanding because I care. Same courtesy, not always. Yeah, if you need it, we have it. All right, we'll also do things in our presentations, and we go over this a lot. These are KW Global stats. So one of the things that we do is we compile all of the presentation information. We update it and edit it several times a year, so the data that's inside of your presentation, buyer presentation, listing presentation, and pre-listing kits are the most recent versions of the data to tell the full story. So if you are working in a migratory market, maybe a lot of your clients are in town, or maybe they're going from out of town, you can talk about that much larger picture because literally no one is beating us. In fact, if you were to look at where KW Luxury on a global scale stands, we are 25% of global luxury market share. If you think of all the hundreds of thousands of brokerages and real estate organizations out there, we're 25% of that one company. And that's kind of astounding if you think about that in terms of. And then on top of that, 13% of the world's luxury transactions involve one Keller Williams agent referring to another.
Interject something right here. What's confusing, because why the public doesn't understand, is we are a franchise, right? So we have different owners of our office, but we all operate under the big umbrella of a franchise. Most companies are individually owned, and that's why they say that they'll take their company and they won't take ours because we have different owners of it. But we're all connected, and that the vastness of that, our connections, is that we can offer you much more access to a huge market. So it was the same way years when we were first got in it. Remax is the same way. They are a franchise. They used to not let them advertise that because that's why there's a confusion. So you can say we are connected by a vast franchise that reaches all across the United States and 55 countries. So just so you'll know why they pick out their company only, say that we're. Does that help you explain that?
Or it was, that's okay. I forgot. All right. So if you read my Keller Williams personality assessment, you will see the word efficiency on every paragraph of every page of that very long report. Okay. I do use it for good, I feel like, and that makes it a bonus. So I have everything as one click as humanly possible on our platform. I get itchy if it's 2 clicks, at 3 clicks, I'm having a meltdown, I'm trying to solve for it because you don't have time to search for everything and hunt and peck. So our homepage actually has the things that you visit the most frequently on our portal. So if you're just popping in and out, that's all there. And then we are separated by your actual cities. You visit your city page, all of these things also live there. But also that's where you're customized for that specific market. Market information is presentations, social media. We deliver a couple of things. On the 20th of the month for the next month, we deliver a full social media package for you. It includes 3 visuals, fully editable in Canva. We also do all the things that masters algorithm of social media. I like to think social media is all pretty pictures and content. It is not. It is a math game. So we do all these sorts of things within the context of the scripting to make sure you have the hashtags, the emojis, the spaces, the links, all the things that makes your social media spread. If you are Gen Xer like me and you doom scroll on Facebook and you see the same 10 people, you are trapped in a peer-to-peer conversation based on the content of the algorithm. You're not actually reaching a much larger base. We'll go into that a little bit. You can also visit the agent newsletter. We do an agent newsletter that's designed for you to send to your database. We have our own separate newsletter, but we do the heavy lifting on that. Email submissions, we have 36,000 followers on social media, which is for your properties and articles, but everything in one click as possible. Then when you visit your city page, this happens to be Atlanta's, you can access the quarterly reports and stats, the property templates that are designed for our market, the presentations that are designed for your market. You can visit our Live Luxury store. You can have your group photos, logos, order your signs, everything all in this one. Very user-friendly. Everything is in Canva, so your companies can download it and market assistant. We also have our own database. So we have about 17,400 people in our database. About 10,000 of that is luxury qualified demographics or buyers and sellers you might be reaching. And about 7,400 of that are luxury real estate agents in and around the metro area. We do reverse prospecting. That is not 7,400 early. We actually target people who have 5 years of luxury production where they do 5 or more transactions per year. Then we reach out to them and add them to the database. If you like to get down and nerdy about newsletter analytics, I know you do. Everybody does. We have an open rate of 72%. When you think about 10,000 or 17,000 more people, it's great where they spend more than 5 seconds. But more importantly than that, we average 1,848 unique views, which means a little more than 10% of the people in our database are sharing it, which is great. The other amazing thing about it, well, it's our database, we do not pay the middleman for your leads. When someone clicks on your submission for more information, it clicks directly back to you. You determine where that goes. So you can set your lead capture form from command as the link to that. You can put the web page that you prefer in there. You can put the landing page for the property. That's 123mainstreet.com. You determine where that lead goes through. We just generate the offer. A little bit unique. Goes out 3 times a week, certain days strategically aligned. If you like newsletters. You know, we all have one luxury client a year that wants to know every single eyeball that's going to see their property. This is good math. Always one. They're fun too. Love them. So on the 20th of the month, you get 2 things. You get the social media deliverable, and then you get the client-facing newsletter. All of these are 100% customizable, but also designed to be sent as is. So if you're having a very, very busy month, you're like, I just need to touch out, I don't even care what's in it. It is done for you already. You get all of these imagery. We do 3 from the day because we don't want everyone posting the exact same imagery. But because it's in Canva, you can actually go through and change all the photos out without having to do any of the heavy lifting of the creation of the content. We write suggested copy. We do an Instagram and a Facebook version. We have a Reels and Lives version of that in case you want some ideas that are complementary to that. And you'll see all the good stuff that's in there. The great thing about these 2 things is it's designed to take you from about 2 weeks of content creation workload to under 2 hours in your monthly schedule, which is kind of great, especially if you are an agent who does it themselves or you have somebody who's dedicated to that. Because then instead of building content, they can do the other part of social media that is engagement. Why do we do this? Well, our number 1 luxury demographic are baby boomers, right? But our number 2 luxury demographic is what we lovingly call golden millennials. Just a millennial with money. And they buy later and they buy larger. Their average first home is $750,000. They start in luxury. They're very different demographics. Your Gen Xers like me in the middle, sort of dystopian about everything. Either one of these marketing strategies work for us. Boomers are much more transactionally minded. Are you transaction competent? Do you have the network? Have you negotiated these things? A millennial is much more interested in having a journey with somebody who's a partner. Very different mindset. They're not asking their cousin or their brother or their mother even, who's your real estate agent. They're going to find you on social media. If you're posting sales, transaction, you've already lost. They want to know, are you a resource for how I live my life, where I live my life, the community that I'm going to build? Very, very different. This is designed for that lifestyle consumer. Now, it still works for baby boomers and Gen Xers, but it's very useful information. But we like to call this your stabilizer. This is going to keep you up here because we know you're going to intercut that with the transactional stories. The story of this closing, this coming soon, the open house. This keeps you from getting trapped into that much smaller sphere and have a much larger reach. Because social media is a massive advertising. Right? Which is wonderful. The other thing that we did when we did an audit for this was we're like, oh my gosh, let's look at agents who have amazing social media presence. So posts, 1,000 likes and comments. That's awesome. Then we said, well, who's liking and commenting? What we found was 98% of them talking to other real estate agents. You were trapped in a peer-to-peer conversation instead of being able to reach people that are going to be building your database. So this is very intentionally designed to help you overcome that. We love our real estate agents, but when it comes down to it, they're going to go, oh my gosh, beautiful listing photos, but it may not be reaching the buyer or your next seller in that. So that's how that's done. The same thing is sort of true for the newsletter. It's very lifestyle focused. We write a conversational in tone opening message, very little transactional information. We'll talk about what's happening in the season for that month. We'll talk about things that are going on in life. Spring, everything's hectic, all the games, all the weddings, all the things. And then we always ask a question. The goal is to get them to have a conversation with from a digital touch newsletter. Now, our average open rate for this is 48%, where people spend more than 5 seconds. Key metric in newsletter analytics. We'll go into that later on a different day, not today. But our agents who are sending this consistently and then following up the next week with a question about something that was in the newsletter, 99% open. They average, we have about 47 of our agents that do that. They average 68 appointments a month because of the content structure. And then people will say, oh, Courtney, well, this is all luxury, and I have 2 different, databases living in my database if I'm a non-luxury. And I always like to say, you know your database better than I ever could. But I promise you, those people that are maybe on the cusp of luxury and not quite in it are still luxury curious. And I like to give the analogy that like nobody window shops at the Dollar Tree. So they still kind of want to know the things that are happening. Maybe it's goal setting for their vacation. You have an article about staycations. Maybe it's about the new electric Rolls Royce. Whatever those things are, they're in there. There's also the opportunity to feature your properties, your client testimonials, those sorts of things. But the front 3/4 of it is lifestyle based. You are a resource for how they live, where they live, and what they do in their lives. Because we know that 86% of people go with the first real estate agent they talk to, regardless of their relationship. So if you can have moments of conversation and helpfulness that every time they think about something, whether it's gardening or where they're going on vacation, they're thinking of you, they're much more likely. So those how those 2 things are designed. Questions?
Can I ask? I know, can I ask? Who wants to share what you got out of that segment that's important? What did you write down? I saw she gave you great. What is usable today?
The lifestyle based,
The what?
the lifestyle based.
Uh-huh.
No. Pricing.
How
How about
about
the
it's a
lifestyle
conversation.
experience?
Yeah.
Everybody wants the luxury lifestyle experience,
Mhm.
regardless of the price point.
I mean, if you ask any kindergartner, do you want to be rich or poor when you grow up? Even if you're still working towards it, but it's sort of how it would be. But you can actually see this live. So if you're like a Facebook user or an Instagram user, you can actually go in the back end analytics. You can see your individual posts. So for a month, you post lifestyle with a couple of transactional posts in there. you'll actually see that your views decline when you post about this. Yeah. Because other real estate agents care about you. I was this, the other. But if you were to say, I had 128 transactions last year, thank you so much for blah, 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 you'll see views decline or only real estate agents comment. But if you said, I helped serve 128 families that were working towards their ownership, and these are my favorite stories.
Would you say social media or a
This works for Instagram, Facebook, because we actually have separate columns for them based on where their pictures are. The uniformity kind of works, whether you're LinkedIn or Twitter. Twitter's a little, she's different. Yeah. Oh yeah. So it works for either of them. You can tweak them based on your needs. So some of them like video does a little bit better. You can download these and then convert them in as in. Like there's all those sorts of metrics in there. But which one you should be targeting is based on who your desired client is, right? I want to work in $1.5 to $2.5 million. They're going to be investment bankers. Their age range is 47 to 52. That will determine which platform you should focus on first. Probably Facebook if that's the thing. If it's sort of golden millennials, then you probably want to be on Instagram more than that. LinkedIn is more for your referral source in terms of other real estate agents plus clients, unless you're targeting executive leaders and relocators. That's a different thing. But yeah. Question answered? Yes.
Very question, you say 86% of people that are the first agent pick up. What do you put in that statement too? Is it meeting them in the store, first phone call expired, this those do you use that statement?
Yeah, well, it's trackable from that actually comes from the NAR. It tracks. I don't know if you get. Do you do the NAR report where it shows you all like the staging things and all the? Choose your life. I'm gonna send it to you. They do a massive stat compiling. And they do all this data thing. So what they found is your first engagement with them, whoever they talk to first, when it's top of mind for real estate, that's 86% likely that they're going to talk to them, which is why you always hear them say, call your database, call your database, call your database, call your database. That's actually the key driver behind that, because you just have the best odds if you're contacting. But if you can keep them engaged and thinking about you, they're more likely to call you rather than you needing to call them. Because you have then become a helpful resource. And I'm like, oh, I was thinking about selling my home. Instead of them trying to remember you from a year ago or 5 years ago, your contacts. They're like, oh, you sent me that thing about paint colors, gutters. They're much more likely to be top of mind. And that's sort of what these two things are designed for, which is why this is conversational in tone. It's usually relatable. Oh my gosh, it's May-cember. That's crazy. It feels like December. Everyone's jam-packed. We'll talk about the stress of life. It'll ask, what are you doing to decompress? Maybe we can have coffee. You know, there's always little moments there, so it feels like a personal conversation with them, which is very important in all relationships, extremely important in the luxury relationship. Yeah. All right. So within our marketing templates, you get a couple of different styles, but they are a full set. So all of our presentation styles, you can see 4 of them here. They all have similar information on the inside. The overall aesthetic is different. It's 100% customizable, but they are complete in their set. So you have a buyer presentation, a pre-list, and a listing kit in each of those additional styles. I update them at least 4 times a year to make sure the stats and data are correct inside of them. So you don't have to actually go through and re-update every single time. You can download the new template, or you can go to the master template and paste that information into your already. Try to see it. There's flyers. We have an 8-page brochure, 2-page flyer, jumbo postcards, just like everything you can think of, all available for you in Canva. And when you download them and personalize them, they live in your Canva, so you don't have to constantly. This is our quarterly luxury stats. This is a snippet of some of the pages from our client-facing groups. It's a multi-page booklet. It's broken down by all of these areas. Each of those areas has their own version of the price points that is specific to that territory and that price point. Really clean, easy aesthetic. We have these little gold sliders here that kind of show you where the market is standing in each of those price points. This is designed as a multi-use unit. So if you specialize in Gwinnett, you can Gwinnett pages, put it in your presentation every quarter and have fresh stats. You can also download it and print it and bring it with you to places. You can send it digitally as a newsletter. We've also designed each of the price points to be the size of our jumbo postcard template. So if you're farming a neighborhood in Gwinnett that is specifically $1 million to 1.49, you can snapshot that in every person that is. And it's pretty, it's clean, it's easy to read. This is a great one to send if you're working with like tax attorneys or divorce attorneys or an executive relocating company. Say, hey, here's everything that's happening in the luxury market in the metro area. I know you have people coming in. I'd love to do that. Love divorce attorneys. So that's 3 transactions. His, hers, theirs. Nice. All right. These are some pages from our agent, basically. So this is what we review in detail with our agents. Of course, this is the previous quarter, not the current third quarter, because we're not quite members and that's proprietary. So we'll do a lot of breakdown. We'll show you the incidence of price reductions that are happening in each of the territories, as well as the market average as a whole. Very important, because when you're pulling your comps, you want to be able to pull the ones that you're actually in competition with, not the ones who got it wrong. So when someone says, well, my neighbor did this, blah, 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 that's a competitor, but this one over here is not, so let's not replicate that. You can have those higher level conversations. We also do a calculation what price reductions do on the overall sales price. And it is a pretty dramatic story. If you've priced it right, no price reduction, you're getting 100%. Of course, this is previous quarters, a little bit different than the current one. If you don't, you're losing almost 9%, which means the price reduction on a $1 million listing is not $5,000, 9% to get it under contract, which is what number? 90,000. So we want to help you make the case for getting the price right, because not only is there a penalty for missing it in terms of price, there's a penalty for missing it in terms of days on market. Again, this is Q2, it's a little bit different now. But on Q2, it was 8 days on market versus 73. A little worse now, 10 days.
And it's creepy a little bit.
Yeah. Because people are reducing by $5,000, $25,000. So if you have a client that my house needs to be this, or I'm not going to go on the market, or I just want to put it on the market for 30 days and see what happens. Well, we know we need to be under contract in 8 days, which means we need to be negotiating on day 5. You need that offer by day 5. When should you price reduce? Day 5. You haven't had an offer. And you can pre-negotiate that amount based on the penalty for missing the market. Because a lot can be done. I mean, if you were just in Sandy Springs ITP, 1 week market. If you missed it, 202 days. Dramatic difference. The longer it sits, the higher the price reduction. So you can have those inline conversations to get them on page, because what could you do within the difference of time between 7 days and 202? Lifetime. Maybe you've already bought a home. Now you're carrying your luxury home for 202 days. That's a much different financial picture. And you can have those higher level conversations. All right. Missing from here. I'm going to add it in. I looked at it yesterday and I didn't catch it. We actually have interactive worksheets based on this data. So the Excel spreadsheets that all of our data is in that compiles this, integrated into the Excel. There's a worksheet that has a column what the seller thinks it should be listed as, and then what you know it should be as. And it will calculate the average days on market, the price they can expect to receive, the carrying costs of the client, and show them a net-to-net differential. And I will tell you that almost every time your client's like, I want $1.25 million, you know it needs to be $1 million, but you know they're going to get about 100% of that versus less. You will see that the carrying costs, they almost net more in a very short amount of time by pricing it correctly. And that's based on the data transaction. I'll send you that snapshot.
Okay,
That stuff. Like,
okay.
you can see what the form looks like. It's a vast game changer because then you can have conversations like, what can you do in 6 months? What can you do in this thing here? And sometimes you get a lot more because in addition to having the price reduction penalty, there's actually a negotiation. All right, Live Luxury Store. Live Luxury Store is not a profit center. We buy in bulk and pass that savings on to you. So we'll buy 3,000 folders, and when you buy 25, you get the price point if you had bought 3,000 folders, because luxury materials are significantly expensive. So we group together to try to make it so those items can be more cost effective, fall within the model, because we're all following the MREA model. Yeah. Okay, and so we have folders, binders, all kinds of stuff in there. So I'm going to go over a little bit of KW Luxury, because one of the things I like to do is tell you the whole picture of everything that's available to you. This is KW Luxury, so that's our global mothership, different from Live Luxury. They actually have 3 tiers of membership. Their first one is level 1. You do not have to have any production in luxury in order to qualify for those things. It's based on the price point of the actual property. So if the property qualifies, you get all of these sorts of things. There's online resources, there's Facebook grouping. I think the most important one is this $1 million properties. If you have a home that's listed for $1 million and up, it gets a beautiful marketing package. So $1 million up, you get a digital ad automatically in the Wall Street Journal, the James Edition, the Barron Group, Penta, and that cumulative thing for a 90-day, those ads per property is $12,000 value. So if you're up against a smaller organization, you have a $12,000 integrated marketing package straight out the gate for that $1 million+ property. And I will tell you that clients love seeing their home in the Wall Street Journal. And they target different things. So Wall Street Journal tops the top 5% C-suites in the United States. You have a specialty property on the lake around here, and you think that buyer's maybe in Chicago, much larger reach. Number 2 is you have earned into Live Luxury, or KW Luxury. That means you've done 4 luxury transactions in 24 months. Your gorgeous team leader has approved you in command to initiate that welcome letter. You get everything in level 1, but you also get everything in level 2. And I would say the big one in this one is the client-facing luxury site. They have better templates for your website built in once you're a member of KW Luxury. And they have some other really great resources and training. Level 3, we like to call their penthouse level. This is the only one that has a charge. It's $250 per month. They have masterminds that travel around the country. They bring in big speakers. They have a little bit elevated service level. They have their own app. It's much more for referrals. So if that's big on your list, then KW. That's me. Good job.
Question? I have a question for Courtney.
Comments?
You know, we have a guy who does our stats, and he does it, and he will quarterly do a Zoom with all of our members, so to show them how to use stats. And that to me is worth everything. I can promise you, no one has that. He is exclusive with us. There are local companies who have tried to, but that is something that they have been able to provide, but it is so strong, and he is so good. His background is he was a team leader with us some years ago, and he lives in Colorado, and he does our stats. He purchased that part of the company, and we are the only company. I mean, a lot of companies have the stats. I mean, a lot of Keller Williams office have stats, but we have the luxury, and they don't have the luxury. So we have both. We get both kinds. Regular ones, you remember, and yeah, am I saying that correct? Yeah. So you have everything that you to work to penetrate the luxury. I say this, I have other wonderful friends that has a fabulous workout. And that it only works if you go there. Guess what? We find that some of our members don't use everything. And some of them don't use anything, they just want to say they're a member of the. Don't do it. You're not gonna use this stuff. You know, it's there for you to use. Those who use it's amazing. Within our membership, we first started, we would celebrate people in our membership who had 6 luxury transactions in a year. Now, Courtney,
We give awards for 55 plus luxury transactions. We have about 48 of our members that are 25 luxury transactions. So then- I actually can look at your, I should have said it, but I can look at your sales when I do awards at the end of the year, and I can look at your listing photos, and I can see social media, what you're using, what you're not using, and see why you're at 2 or 5, not at 12.
Courtney's a great brain to pick.
yeah,
She's full of all kinds of.
honestly, she's the secret sauce, there's no question about that. And trust me, Courtney goes up, they send our marketing department that we pay to create a lot of stuff. They send us pictures, and in the beginning, Courtney involved me in approving the pictures. But now she does it, and I'm telling you, she'll say, no, this picture is not acceptable because. So,
There's a toaster in the kitchen picture.
yeah.
Yeah, it matters.
I want to tell you that we have a member one time that Courtney looked at her listing pictures, and they had the commode seats up.
You will get a call from me if you're.
You will.
Like, why are you photographing the toilet? One thing, but
And also, not only was the toilet seat up, but there were dirty towels on top of the door. We don't
They were
have to
like,
do
oh,
that.
no.
I'll
You do that. So if you don't want to be held to a higher standard, then certainly we're not for you. But if you want to, rise, we know what it takes to be successful in the luxury world. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories. One, my background, I came from a luxury background. I was the managing broker before it was Atlanta Fine Homes. We did lots of luxury. So that's where I that was my one big disappointment. I came to Keller Williams, there was no luxury. So that is what prompted me because I know what it takes to be in that world. And I've had that experience. But I also know that people want to be in it, but they don't want to do what they need to do to be in it. So I'm just, we're not out to have tons of members who don't use stuff. If you're going to, we want you to use it because we know it makes a difference. And I'm also going to tell you and close with a story about James. James was a driver. I have a vision problem. I think many of you do that, and I cannot drive. So, James became my driver about 10 years ago. More than that, but anyway, he was with Carrie Limmer. And I called him one day when I decided I couldn't drive myself to the airport, traveling a lot. And so, I got James by just luck of the draw. And James came to pick me up to take me to the airport. And when I got in the car, He pulled out from my house, and I said, whoa, James, stop, wait just a minute. Can you back up one run? So he said, yes, so I ran in the house and I came out with a diet cherry Coke, which I drink one of every day. And James asked me, he said, Miss Evans, what is that? And I said, it's a diet cherry Coke. I drink one every day. You know who else does? The billionaire. Who owns what? Who owns Berkshire Hathaway?
More about it.
Warren Buffett drinks a cherry Coke every day and eats a hamburger. I found that out. Right? We have a lot in common. So I feel I drank one every day. He said, really? James drove me for 10 years. He never picked me up without a diet cherry Coke filled with that crushed ice. Like
The good ice.
I'm telling you, that's what I mean when I say affluent people. You don't have to buy them expensive stuff. You have to just give them an experience. It's like he remembered every time. 10. James drove Gary Keller. I would give him all of Region's business. He drove everybody in the international. I recommended. He drove. Actually, he was invited to Ted Turner's birthday. He drove every celebrity who came to Atlanta. I used to tell him I was in. We were in Maine on vacation, and we were coming home, and my plane was delayed. And I said, and so my husband called James. We're going to be running. You call the kennel where our dog is Charlie. You ask them to stay on. So we got to the airport. James has Charlie, our dog. He goes, Charlie, of course, because they wouldn't stay on. So he went. I mean, I have so many stories. Y'all remember when the model, what's her name?
Nikki Taylor.
Nikki Taylor. So there's a famous model who had an accident. I think she was something. And she was in Atlanta in the hospital for months and months and months. When she came back for her checkup, Carrie asked James to try. James went online and researched her, but she was a famous model, and found out that she had been children. He met her with 32 packs. Children. You know, Katie Holmes used to come all the time. She was dating. Yeah, what is his name?
Humphrey. Or Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx. He always drove Katie. Tell me what kind of Starbucks at her plane. It is the little things that do for people who can do a lot for themselves, but it's like you remember those things. So you don't have to go out and worry about spending a lot of money on. It's just like remember the team. Communicate with them in what lesson. There's nothing like a. I mean,
Go dogs.
I mean, really, in Georgia, you got a ton. You know, there's tons of. It's the small things you do. James, I can't even tell you, he retired, and he didn't retire. He got a major job with their family. Right? So after 10 years, he didn't drive. And left a hole huge. And one last story on him. Mo Anderson called me. We have a lady in our company who owns 4 market centers in markets. And she is Hispanic. And she's an OP of 4 markets. And she grew up in Mexico in a trailer. She was addicted to drugs and everything when she was very young. And what pulled her out of drugs was golf. She learned how to. And Nancy Lopez was her, that was her person that she looked up to mental. And so Mo and I did every year the inspirational lunch. I was on the committee that helped her, and she called me and said, "Hey, we were featuring this young lady because she's on Full Market Center. She pulled herself out, that kind of." And Mo said, "Kay, do you think James?" Now Mo knew. She said, "Do you think James knows me?" I said, "Pretty sure he does." She said, "Well, we can't get her to respond because we want to invite her to family reunion to the inspirational touch because we're surprising girl she's in." And I said, "Well, let me call him." And I called him and said, "James, you go answer." I said, "I've got it. Every time she lives in Albany, Georgia, I pick her up at the airport every time I drive her off." And I said, and I told him what we did. He said, "For you and Mo, I'm going to drive down the top of the got Nancy to come because of, and we took him to family sound. And Mo was up on the stage and she asked him, who's operating from, she said, "Tell us who your idol." She said, "Nancy Lopez." She said, "I just worship her. She pulled me out of drugs and alcohol and helped me improve." I said, "I hear her." She said, "No, I haven't. It's about time." She walks out on. She was the wrong way. It was absolutely. That's a story that says it when you create experiences for people and you do things that touch their heart, and that's what people like because they can go to school. You have to build a relationship. You have to get to know in the smallest. You have to be service oriented to work. But it does change your life because you step on the service. And you do it through affiliation of group that has classes and materials that you do. I would say this to you, only if you're going to use. You cannot tell somebody, "I'm a member of," not do. So that's what.
Yeah, I will call you.
So anyway, have you told them what the fee is and everything?
It was the first slide.
I'll share them all too.
Okay. It is an $850 initiation fee one time because that gets you set up on everything in the portal, and it's $75 a month for agents. We spread it out over here to. And you get me. I'll train all your people. If you're an agent who does it all, I train you how to use it, everything. If you have a team behind you, or you just upgrade and hire maybe a virtual assistant, then your virtual assistant actually don't have to. Full service.
Leverage. It's all about leverage. Well, I think the biggest takeaway is it's about the product, but it's about understanding how to provide a great service to luxury clients. It doesn't have to be expensive. Like I think our team meetings earlier this year talked about Caroline Ho. Her thing is about being super intentional where like one closing, she, dug up part of a tree that had been in this family's yard for 35 years, and that was her closing gift. that meant more to them than a beautiful gift basket or $2,000 bottle of wine when you're buying, you know, $10, $50 million, you know, piece of property. I talk about experience a lot. It's about how you make people feel. It's not what you give them. Half the stuff ends up in either regifting or a Goodwill. Sorry, most of it does, right? I mean, think about stuff that you get. How much of it do you actually use versus the takeaway of the memory and the experience? So I think that's, you know, a big nugget from this is thinking about what that looks like for you and your business. And this is a tool and a piece of leverage that if you so choose, you have to do that, but give you great ideas.
One exception to that feeling is though, your paper needs to feel good.
Yes, it's all about the hand. I call it how's the hand. Yep.
Everything else is emotion.
Yes.
I also want to tell you that, affluent people like to do business with people who help them build their image and not tarnish it. I'm disappointed, I've been the first one to say, I will check, no, let me go back and say, I'm very impressed with how you all came to this meeting today. Our company has gotten way too casual. And affluent people want to do business with people they think could live in their world. So I'm not talking about spending a ton of money, but I'm talking about paying attention.
Details.
Detail, definitely.
I like to say that wealth whispers.
Wealth what?
Wealth
Whispers.
whispers.
Oh.
It's loud and fast, flashy.
That's good.
Might be rich, but it's not wealth. So you don't need to be logoed everything. It needs to be well tailored. Like fabric, yoga pants or gym shorts, those sorts.
And that's how we call that. We call that new money versus old money.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You also have seen our signs. They're pretty special. You have to use those if you're with us. Because I don't want to break anybody's heart, particularly. Red is not a luxury color. Can I tell you that? Red is not a luxury color. So that's our sign.
You actually will get listings from, it's actually quite beautiful to see it in the wild. It's got matte metallic. You will get listings. Not why you would choose a qualified real estate agent, but their neighbors will be like, oh, son. Yeah. So you can have your like non-luxury branded and this would be, oh, this price point luxury marketing package. Let me show you this. Really great as you're moving your clientele from non-luxury to markets here, giving them that extra touch should be different.
Where have you seen one of our signs? Y'all seen it? We actually, agents have gotten calls and said from clients who said, I was with you, can I have one of those signs? They're pretty powerful.
Our Savannah market, we rolled out there and they put the sign up and they're like, oh, sure, Courtney will be listing. I got a call the next week. And I could put it up in this neighborhood. I got a $3.5 million listing for this. Crazy. Your question? Yeah, we're not affiliated with your office. But I will tell you that if you're, like, we're not involved.
What was that question?
They have an office bill, and then would this be on top of that?
Completely separate.
Completely
Yeah,
separate.
completely.
It'd be like you're hiring marketing. But if you were to hire somebody to help you with just your newsletter, it costs you more than $75. You actually get tens of thousands of dollars for your.
You know, I won't be, will never, I don't care. Are you allowed to put a logo there?
You can put your logo on the drop down rider. It can't go on the main body.
Both different dimensions.
Yeah.
That's
And
his own logo. That's
for the
going on
photo
the
quality that you have, obviously, they just take great pictures. I think they great. It's the quality, what's in the photo, right? You, like you said, judge pictures before they go up.
I'm very judgy.
Yeah, so easy because I think it's just talking about.
We'll kick it back. My team will kick it back if you try to submit it to the newsletter. So if you're like, oh, it might be iffy, I'd submit it early because like that. Same thing for our social media. We do that for your benefit. When you're sending in our newsletter, your home is up against other professional quality photography. If yours is not, it will stand out and not be super judgy, but not judgmental. Okay.
We have stagers also.
So everything that goes through.
Correct. Would not qualify for that. And you actually want it to be separate. You want them to feel like they're getting something exclusive. This price point now qualifies you for a luxury marketing package. Let me tell you about the brand.
Newsletter.
The newsletter is your discretion because it goes to your data. Some people will tweak, they'll pull out, we get free luxury articles, they'll pull out two and they'll put one non-luxury with luxury. And they sort of balance it out. Everything is editable on it. The only thing we really ask you not to do is one, don't denigrate the quality. But two, don't remove our logo. The rest of it is customized for you. We want it to feel like it came from you.
My husband made a transfer from, he's a builder. He was in the home renovation. He moved from major market, just the kind of market to nothing but luxury. But he said, luxury people don't have to stop and think to buy things.